Welcome back to Breakdown Podcast with me, Just Trev, and Aidenetta Gaming. How you doing, dude?
I'm doing very well. Hopefully, you're doing very well. Hopefully,
I
everyone else
am,
is doing
yeah,
very well.
yeah. Thank you
That
to
is
all the
good
people
to
that
hear.
who are watch the pod, yeah, watch the podcast on YouTube and listened on Spotify. Appreciate the views and the listens. Greatly appreciated.
Hmm.
Today we are talking about round two, Saudi Arabia. Oh boy, the Jeddah circuit. It's a nasty circuit because it is a street circuit. It is tight. It is what seemed like at the beginning of the weekend not exactly a place where overtaking can happen. However, what a race. What a weekend in total, actually.
Oh yeah, what a weekend, especially in Formula Two. That was.
Mm.
I think I think we should start off with Formula Two really. Then we'll
Absolutely.
work our way.
You know that they do a sprint race and then they do the feature race. It's such a great curtain raiser to the F1 spectacle. And I generally don't watch it, but I just thought, while I'm mucking about on my PC, I'll have it on and watch it and everything. What a great spectacle! Particularly the race was absolutely fantastic.
Oh yeah, that's a couple bits of contact and all that stuff. Obviously that will happen since it is racing, but I thought it would have been. It was a lot better than what happened in the sprint. Quite a
Mm.
few penalties there and all that stuff.
I thought it
Uh,
was the pace set that the guys showed, and you could obviously see some of them the lack of the experience on the track and stuff like that. That was pretty
hmm,
evident. But jeepers, I'll tell you what, some of the overtaking and the set of balls that these guys have to take the
it's just
gap is it's just literally, I was just going to say it's nuts, but there you go.
mm,
It's just absolutely balls to the wall, just really good hardcore racing. Some of the choices not so great, but still it
no,
made for a very good viewing.
a few spins and all that stuff. Trying to see the tires out. A few DNFs, but not bad really for Formula Two.
What's the one fella's name? Daravula. Who I think in the feature race he finished third, and I think second in the sprint race. I really like the way he sort of like gets stuck in. But the guy that won the sprint race was Isawa or something like that. Man, he didn't have the pace to compete, but boy did he position his car beautifully on track to protect his lead basically. And there was that lead, not just the lead, but behind the pack, behind the leader, there was so much going on, overtaking and everything. It really was good, and I'm actually looking forward to the next one to see what they can come up with.
Oh yeah,
Very
since
interesting.
checking it, since currently watching it, it's getting more interesting.
Definitely.
But
So into the F1 weekend,
yeah,
the free practice takeaways. What did you think of the free practice?
so we'll move on to the last practice as we uh yeah, we'll get to that part. But practice one, uh, Red Bull,
Mm-hmm.
uh, they noticed a couple of issues on one of the turns since it was resurfaced and all that stuff. The timing was a bit iffy for actually nearly every team out there, especially on
Mm.
that corner. But it was pretty good. The traffic was probably the worst part.
Mm. Mm.
And this brings us into what I was about to speak about. Verstappen and our lovely fellow Lando Norris. We will speak about him later on. But a bit of it was Max. I don't know what he was doing. Probably on his outlap or something. Uh, Lando was carrying around in Max's sort of near the middle. But
There was a lot of that though, because I mean, where can they go? They can't go anywhere. They, it's the street circuit. It's narrow, so they can try and stay off the racing line. But boy, I tell you what, some of those moments could, and also in the qualifying, not just the qualifying, but practice 3. Boy, there was some really, really close calls.
oh yes.
But
I
yeah,
forgot.
it was Red Bull dominance, man. Red Bull dominance once again with Aston Martin. Also, because after the first race, the second race you kind of go, is this like a fluke? Is it a one-off? That kind of thing, or the other teams are going to catch a wake-up call and get close to Red Bull, and Aston Martin's going to be maybe fourth, fifth, or whatever. But they're back up there again. Consistency, man.
And forgot what I was going to say. But
Oh, I know what you're going to say. Angela Cullen leaving Hamilton and Mercedes.
oh yes, we can actually finally talk about that from our little recording session yesterday.
Indeed. Now, this is going to be interesting, though, because she's been with Hamilton for, what, 8, 9 years? Yeah,
7
something
to
like
9, something like
so,
that
so
between
and,
that.
and there's rumor that she was fired rather than she left. So that's kind of interesting.
There's multiple stories. One of them's going that she's gone off to fulfill her dreams, as we speculated yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't hear about she was fired or anything like that. That's news to me. And the other
Yep.
news that could be possible, me talking about Red Bull yesterday, she may go to Red Bull or a different team to work with another driver. But
With everything that's going on with Hamilton in the car or whatever, and he looks like his face looks like a smacked arse most of the time because he's
oh
probably
yes,
driving a piece of shit. But with Angela leaving, this must be like, pardon the pun, but it's a hammer time blow, isn't it?
oh yeah,
What
for
does
someone
he
to
do
be
now? Jeepers!
there by his side for 7 to 9 years, and they're not going to be there for how long? How long do you reckon Hamilton? As we said, how long has Hamilton got left in him? Obviously, we don't know, and how it's going
Well,
right now that
I mean,
she's left.
we can speculate
It's
as much as we want and have our own opinions and stuff like that. But I mean, obviously, they will know what's what. But with this happening, with the car being what it is, if nothing gets turned around in the next 2 to 4 races, I reckon Hamilton's going to look somewhere else. But
yes, as we
where? That's going to provide what car is going to provide him the opportunity to get his 8th title?
well, as he said, it won't be McLaren because they're on the downward spiral still, which
I
it
mean
will
that
move
we're
on.
gonna have a mass debate about that one, aren't we? Because that McLaren is just hideous.
Shit.
It's hideous. Even in free practice, it wasn't good. It just filtered over from Bahrain.
They round about practice rate they improved a little bit, seeing them within the top 10, but moving on, their pace is just poor. We'll
Well,
get onto the DRS part.
we will indeed, because this race it revealed a whole bunch of ugly truths, and boy, are there plenty
Mm.
more issues for McLaren. But anyway,
But going back
yeah,
to the practice, Ocon nearly had it's either Ocon or Gasly had a scary little moment, nearly crashing into the wall. Luckily, saving the car,
yeah. I think
obviously.
I think
But
it was Ocon. Yeah,
yeah, Ocon.
yeah.
Lucky he
He held
saved the
it pretty
car.
well though.
Mm.
The
Especially
street
for
circuit. Wow.
how Alpine is uh, hit and miss, but better than McLaren, obviously. But
Well, thankfully he missed it and didn't hit it, so
mm.
that's a good thing. Right. Let's get into
Right.
qualifying, man, because I'll tell you what,
Uh,
there was a whole lot going on in qualifying.
Well, I think we leave McLaren to last. We'll start off
Yep.
with the best and work our way to not the best.
Yep.
We'll start with Red Bull.
Yep.
Uh,
But they had the first
Again,
issue with Red Bull, but very fast. I mean, Max's first lap when he came out, it was just like, boom, there's a 128, whatever.
I even took a note of this that we'll probably get down to the line in the race. But Red Bull's had a bit of an issue this race, really.
They did.
Since the gear, that's I believe they changed the gearbox or something
It's a
like
drive
that. Could
shaft.
be,
It was the drive
drive
shaft, yeah.
shaft.
Yeah. I mean,
That
that's
is
interesting for a car that is extremely reliable, and but it just shows you, I guess, that anything can happen, and maybe the curbs were to add for the way they were riding that curb and everything. Maybe that is what caused the issue or whatever. Or maybe it was just an underlying little issue from the previous race or whatever. But it's just interesting that Perez sort of like coming back into his own again. And I reckon if it wasn't for Max going out in Quali 2 and starting 15th, I reckon Max could have been there. And I think it would
oh
have
yeah,
been
Max
it would have
gonna
been a
easily.
Red Bull lockout. Yeah. Front row
But
lockout for sure.
then halfway into the race, both drivers pick out issues with the car,
Yeah.
and so Red Bull at the moment is a uncertainty for Australia. They could have got the issue fixed, and they may have not got the issue fixed. So we have to wait and see for that. But
Well, there's a lot more underlying issues going on there because, yeah, we'll talk about that about in the race. But yeah, there's a lot of to and fro between Perez and Verstappen that cannot make for a healthy team environment. But we'll get onto that. And Perez takes pole anyway for during qualifying, but that could have been Stroll if it weren't for that last corner. He just struggled a little bit to gain traction. But Stroll could have been on pole. That is the frightening thing. That Aston Martin is bloody fast. And Alonso, again, just amazing.
absolutely amazing.
And
But
then
I think we
Russell
should.
ahead of Hamilton. Again, this brings in the whole Hamilton thing and Angela leaving and the issue with the car. But Russell is the second driver, obviously, because, Hamilton is God. But, Russell finishes ahead of Hamilton. And it's like Hamilton's, like you were saying in the previous podcast, he's slowly given up, isn't he?
He's still using his motivation to continue to drive. And
Man.
it is showing. It is clearly showing. You can see it in his expressions and all that stuff. But I think we should talk about our little friends at Ferrari.
You see, I didn't even make a note about Ferrari because they were just meh. They were like whatever. But go on.
Uh, the Leclerc had a pretty good pace going into second, but unfortunately, moving on to his uh, battery
Power
or
unit,
whatever
whatever. Yeah,
power unit made him get the old 10-second penalty, meaning he was going to be starting in 10th, but in
yeah,
fact it was 12th.
yeah,
So it opened up a gap for Alonso to be into second, and as you said, Stroll could have easily been behind Alonso. Then it could have been, then both Astons could have made Red Bull hopes a bit of a nightmare.
yeah. I mean,
Since
it was a nightmare anyway because Verstappen starting 15th. Everybody was saying, well, jeepers. I think Martin Brundle said something like, or one of the pit crew said something about Alonso was the last person to start 15th and finished whatever in the top whatever. Little did we know that he would just go mental in the race and finish second. But anyway, we'll get onto that anyway. So I mean, I don't know, man. McLaren. Oh boy, here we go. Here we go.
McLaren.
What is going on with Papaya, man? What is going on? Because that is just absolutely woeful once again.
Honestly, I don't know. Again, this is the same question that we said yesterday. What did they do over the winter? But this time, what did they do over the week? They sent the car back to their factory. Because they sent it back, obviously, after Bahrain to apparently improve on something. But what? I don't know.
To improve. Jeez. I don't
But,
know, man. Wow. Gee. Oh,
it's not like Lando to muck up when, but unfortunately he did muck up and
flipped the wall, didn't
he
he? And
was
that
out.
was it.
Q1
Yeah.
he was out, so
Yeah. Bottom of the
it
grid.
was all down to Oscar, and
At
he
least
did
he did pretty well. Yeah, I was just gonna say, at least he did well.
well, but again we'll talk about this part in the race. But yeah, I think we really do want to know what's going on at McLaren right at this moment in time.
Look,
As it,
we can't be the only people wondering what the hell is going on at McLaren.
no,
You know, we talked about this in the previous podcast, and I mean that the board of directors and the shareholders and stuff must be going, dude. Do they even have shareholders? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. Some people may say yes, some people may say no. So we'll see. We don't know. If someone does actually know, you can say, "Oh yeah, they do," but obviously we don't know.
I would
We
imagine
don't
they
want to.
do. I mean, it's such a big company that's got, you know, road cars and sports cars and high end cars and whatever cars. Surely they must have. But I mean, you know, I don't know the ins and outs about the business side of it. But all I know is there can only be one person responsible, and that's Zach Brown.
Again, is he taking responsibility at McLaren? No.
No, definitely not. He's so aloof, isn't he?
And
He's just like, meh, well, we missed our targets and,
yeah,
you know.
but,
Good God,
shocking.
somebody fire him.
He
Something's got
needs
to
to,
change.
yeah.
Fall on your own sword, Zach. Do us all a flavor, mate. Oh my word, yeah. But anyway, you know, you can't blame the drivers. They get given the tools and they work with what they've been given.
It's just like the pit team. They've been given tools and obviously they got to work with them. And obviously, like the steering wheel situation in Bahrain.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was a.
But I mean, something so simple as a hydraulic fluid. I've never, ever, ever seen that in F1. Ever. What the hell,
Honestly, I
man?
don't.
Yeah. I'm with you on
I
this one.
think
No idea. Yeah.
I think people can hear that we have no clue, as we are pretty speechless about it, because you shouldn't be expecting that from a team like that, as we
No.
said last time.
Yeah.
But
But, whoa, jeepers. I don't know, man. But anyway, let's move swiftly along. We get the race.
we can't really speak about the other teams as those around about midfield and all that stuff.
Well, we
Alpha
can. I mean, Ocon, you know, Ocon ahead of Hamilton. What the hell?
This is a shock.
Jeepers. What?
Again, as you said yesterday, Alpine is still laughing at McLaren.
Yeah, they got the. I mean, Alpine got the the raw end of the Piastri stick, and now Alpine are looking and going, losers.
Same as Mr. Ricardo.
Yes,
Again.
Ricardo. It just must be just thinking, you see, I feel justified now. And why wouldn't you say that?
And honestly, I don't really get why people are going around saying, "Oh yeah, Daniel was to blame for all of this." Which, hang on a minute,
What a stupid thing to say, really.
where's his name written on who designed the car? It's nowhere to be seen. He's just there to drive the
Right,
tractor of the
right.
machine.
The
Same as
tractor,
Lando,
yeah.
and Oscar, and Alonso Senna. They're only there to drive the car. They're not there to say, "Oh yeah, let's change the front wheel, and let's add a turbocharger or something to the car." They have
So
no.
far, every podcast it is McLaren, McLaren,
It it
McLaren,
it,
and I
it
can only
it's
see that in the next one, the Australian one's going to be exactly the same, if not worse.
honestly, I think next one. I think we're gonna be spending 3 hours talking about McLaren, and I think Las Vegas we're gonna probably spend 25 million hours speaking about McLaren because it's as we say, it's a hot topic at the moment. A team like that shouldn't
You
be
know,
going through that.
everybody says, "Oh, wait till Baku when the parts come, and then you'll see a different car."
How
But they seem to
how
forget
do you
that
say that?
all the other cars are getting upgrades too. So it's just there's just no coming back from this. There really isn't.
Their season's literally over in the first practice that she had when it was at Bahrain.
Yeah.
They've known they've easily known that there's no really fight really now to
3 minutes. 3 minutes. That's all it took. 3 minutes of Lando spending time in the pits throughout the race. 3 minutes.
mm,
That's all that you need to say to somebody. It's like, what's going on with McLaren? Boom, 3 minutes. Pit time.
yeah.
That's it.
And
That's ridiculous.
again, as we said yesterday, Hamilton's talking about Mercedes. Hamilton's trying to find the best points out of the car. Lando's trying to do that as well. Oh yeah, we've got a bit of good pace, but there's not a lot of good points to say. And same as Oscar.
I feel for Oscar because to be thrown into a really deep end. All I can say is DTS, Drive to Survive, whenever that comes out, is going to be mightily
McLaren race.
interesting. Yeah, it's going to be
Yes,
all
it's
about McLaren and what a fuck up it is.
and honestly I can't wait to see it. As I think everyone does deserve the actual truth from Zach Brown and the McLaren team back at the old
But will they get it?
HQ.
Who knows? You probably by the time that I reckon by the time that Drive
If
to Survive gets released, Zach Brown will be gone and Lando will be moved on to a different team. That's what I see happening. But whatever. Speculation again, just our opinion, listeners. So take it with the biggest grain of salt, or whatever, and whatever. But
and if you can also comment your own opinions as well about the topics we pick up on, and some topics you may miss, and you can say, "Oh yeah, you missed that topic," and maybe next time we can speak about
absolutely,
whatever.
absolutely.
So,
In our YouTube channel, right there, you can leave comments and let us know what we're missing out on our Discord too. There's Formula One community. You can go in there and say hello and
chat
whatnot
with us
and
and all
everything
that
else.
stuff.
But let's
But
talk about the race. We
a
have to
race
talk about the race and Perez's awful start again.
again.
Do you think that he gets the nerves just get to him?
Uh, the weird part is, last year there's did how was his starts really last year? Because there's
Man, I can't
mediocre really.
remember, man. I don't know if he had good starts or bad. I don't think he had great starts for whatever reason. But the nice thing is, at least he won this race fair and square with a bit of a horrible start and a loss from the first corner to Alonso. I tell you what, when that happened, Alonso took the lead in the first corner in the first lap. I was just like, yes, yes, do it, go now, win the race. But we all know that the Aston Martin is not fighting the Red Bull. It really isn't. No one's fighting the Red Bull.
But I think we have a lot to talk about for this. But yeah, Perez had a bit of a shaky start, just like Bahrain.
Mm.
And with no teammate behind him all the way down in 15th, only stopping him was a Haas, then it was a Care after his penalty. That pretty interesting, really.
Well, I think the biggest thing that like, how many laps into the race did they say, oh, you got a 5-second penalty to Alonso for these misalignment of the car, parking the car at the start of the race? It's just ridiculous that okay. I can understand he was in a slightly incorrect position, too far left over. He served his penalty, took his 5 seconds. They were having a look to see what is going on because the jack at the back of the car touched the car, and it was like, okay, so he got another 5 seconds on top of that, or even 5 seconds, I think it was. So his third place was taken away from him, was handed to Russell, and then it was handed back again. Now, when does this become a joke?
The worst part is they waited 35 laps to tell Alonso, oh yeah, you're fourth.
Yeah, that is just so wrong.
35 laps. And
So
I don't know what the FIA is doing, obviously, normal FIA stuff, being Muppets, obviously. And they should have done it straight away, but obviously they didn't. And luckily they...
It's a knock on from the previous years too, because sometimes when the FIA get it wrong, and they do, it becomes a bit of a farce and a bit of a joke. But I mean, if imagine if that happened at the end of a season and this was the deciding race. This would be like when the whole final couple of laps in
Max
the 20, Max's maiden victory, yeah. Oh, jeepers! I mean, it could just not end well.
No.
So they need to work on their communications, and they need to figure out what their rules are.
I think that leads us into, let's say, no, Ferrari. I nearly got that wrong there, but Ferrari.
Oh boy, yeah, go on then.
Again, and this is going to be fun to speak about. But again, their communication strikes out again. It even striked out in the practices. I forgot to say that. It happened in the practices again with Leclerc. Is it time for Leclerc's head of radio to go, maybe? Since he's literally not telling him the correct information at the right time.
No, it's terrible. One of the moments was when he was coming out of the pits, or Russell was coming out of the pits, or something like that, wasn't it? That could have been disastrous. It really could have been disastrous, and the guys didn't tell him. It's unforgivable, man. Again, we're talking about multi-billion-dollar franchise with all these knowledgeable, top-notch people in their respective fields, and they're doing stupid mistakes like that.
This just goes back to when we were speaking about Monaco in the last. They're doing it again, but this time it's with a different team principal. And you shouldn't really be seeing that sort of mistake already. It's only his second race, and you got that issue again.
Yeah, It's
Ferrari,
rearing its ugly head once again. Ferrari, oh
yeah,
boy, oh boy, oh boy. So change the team principles all they want. They're just still making the same mistakes.
yes.
Jeez, it's amazing, man. With the company, and they had the big boss there too, didn't they? Or was that the Bahrain race? But whatever, it doesn't matter. You know, it's just absolutely ridiculous. The whole FIA thing, communication to Alonso's, Ferrari's communication with their drivers. Man, when all of this chaos was happening, there was Verstappen starting 15th, scything
She's with
through the
thing.
field, just absolutely ripping the field apart. What the hell is in that Red Bull?
I don't know. Them overtakes are just like a rocket ship. It's literally so clean on the straightaways. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna quickly overtake you. Overtakes Hamilton. Hamilton even doesn't even try to fight,
No, you
which
just can't. 20, what's it, 20 kph faster down the straight with the DRS open?
yes, I believe so.
Wow, what an advantage. That's why Australia
Mm.
is going to be rather interesting.
But going back to the penalty situation from Alonso,
Mm,
Mercedes are little friends.
mm,
So I'm not sure if you picked out, but Russell was trying to gain time on Alonso,
mm-hmm.
but I believe they told Hamilton, I believe they told Russell to let Hamilton go through, but he didn't. And again, the communication there was pretty shocking from
It
Mercedes.
wasn't very direct, was it? It was kind of like, you don't have to encrypt the message. Just tell me what the hell. And I mean,
So,
he didn't let him through though. I mean, Russell pushed on anyway,
mm,
and justifiably so too.
so who was at fault now? Was it Russell not letting Hamilton through, or was it the team?
That's the pit wall.
It obviously, and I could get he's trying to make some time up, but hey ho, not what I think Mercedes wants. But and again, at the end of the race, I don't think they wanted to be told, "Oh yeah, you're third now," but then they get told again they're fourth. The FIA need to buck their
Yeah, yeah,
ideas up a bit because
absolutely. Yeah, they're making the FIA are damaging what's going on here, because if there's no trust and belief in what the FIA are doing, then you know it's not going to bode well for the rest of the season. So communication seems to be par for the course this race, at least in round two in Saudi Arabia.
mm,
But man,
communication from Ferrari,
yeah, well,
Mercedes, and FIA.
you
We
don't
are
usually get that problem with the Mercedes though.
no, they're that's pretty new to be speaking about, but FIA and Ferrari are common. But Mercedes is a new one, and we
Yeah.
obviously will keep a bit of focus. And again, we could also say that about McLaren.
Oh my
Uh,
God. Okay, let's do it.
honestly, I don't know what I was thinking of keeping Oscar out there on used tires. Uh, I don't know what I was thinking of there. Uh, then Usher's telling Lando to let Oscar through. Uh, I don't know what else they was trying to do there,
Don't make
but
it difficult for Oscar.
obviously,
Just say it. Let Oscar through. Just don't say don't make it. Oh, come on, man. Don't make it difficult
well,
for Oscar. Oh, for God's sakes, please just say it directly. Just let Oscar through. Team orders. Come on. Okay. All right. Come on now. Let's do it. Okay. We got to talk about DRS, McLaren,
and Lando.
and
And
Williams. That
so,
was diabolical. I've never seen
yeah,
anything
that.
so woeful.
So as we said, is in the last podcast, is McLaren the new Williams? And I think you have the answer already. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Shocking.
DRS open, trying to overtake a Williams, which is how easy is that?
Easy.
Pretty easy, and not to be able to do that is pretty shocking. Lando said he could do it, but he was told to let Oscar through, which again, that's bullshit.
Yep.
But obviously we don't know. But obviously it sounds like BS. But
To have
Williams
a car that is
slower,
always been
worse.
slower and worse than McLaren, to not be able to overtake them down a straight with the DRS, and for those that know, it's a drag reduction system. The flap at the wing opens up so the air flows through quicker and makes the car faster, basically. To have the DRS wide open down a straight, a long straight at that, and not be able to pass, and they're right behind. It was unbelievable.
Honestly,
I just sat there with my mouth open, like, what the fuck is going on here?
through them couple of last laps when Lando opened it, and he was so close. I was sitting there saying, "Oh yeah, go on, Lando, you can do it. You can fucking do it. Go on."
Nothing.
Did
Yeah.
he?
No.
Nothing.
No.
And I sat there thinking, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I see
It's
they
just,
are.
it's, again, it's just like, how can you know, I'm so tired about talking about how the hell can they get this so wrong, but clearly they have, and we don't know the answers, but we sure as fans of F1 are stumped and shocked at how terrible that car is. That is the worst McLaren I've ever seen. Ever.
Yeah, you could
Terrible.
probably say others are, but this is probably the worst one that actually McLaren's ever had. Better than last year's. Last year's was better than this one.
And last
But
year's one was shit.
yes.
Jeepers.
But I think
Wow. Wow.
swiftly moving on, since I know we would really get annoyed about talking about McLaren, we will probably come back to him. We're going to talk about Williams. We've already spoke a little bit.
Yep.
Albon, brake issue. I don't understand why they kept him out. They should have
Very dangerous on a
just,
street circuit.
yes, they should have told him, no, you're coming in straight away. Unless
Um
they want
well,
the safety car again, but it would have ruined it. That would actually ruin Perez's
the whole
race.
race would have ruined the whole race, I think.
Yes, having Alonso and Mercedes
Yeah.
and all that stuff
Yeah,
behind.
the thing is with that is, Bernie. She was on the pit wall, or on the commentary team, and she's Aston Martin engineer, I think, or race director engineer. I don't know, whatever. And she said that a lot of these times, a lot of these issues can be resolved via the computer on the pit wall and so on. But that didn't look resolvable. And dangerous, man. That is very, very dangerous.
The Albon did move out of the way, and obviously well done to him for trying to not ruin other people's races. But from their points last week to this week,
Hmm.
they are starting probably to take a step back. Obviously,
We kind of expected that, though, didn't we? I mean, it was always going to
from that,
happen. Yeah.
but I don't know where they've gone wrong all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But we can also say that a little bit about Aston with Stroll having that issue.
Well, unfortunately,
Uh,
yeah, lap 18 and an issue. Yeah, you see, that. You're right in saying that's like a step back, because now what's happening? There's sort of like gremlins creeping in everywhere, but then again, you look at Alonso. He stuck it out, finished third eventually, rightly so,
Mm.
but 20.7 seconds behind. The Red Bulls. That's a frightening amount of time.
Mm. And was really the safety car needed? That is the question I think should be answered. Was it really needed?
Well,
I
well,
I can understand.
they
They said,
said, the GPS showed the car on track.
mm,
So that's why they deployed the safety car, but we know that the car was not on track. So how is it? Again, this brings in the whole FIA into question. How is it that we as fans can see it on screen that the car is not on track, but they are there at the circuit with all the technology, and they can't see that it was actually off track?
there's directly a camera right at that turn as well. So again, FIA taking a bit of a tumble.
They're taking a bit of a breakdown abuse, man. Jeez.
Yeah,
Forget McLaren. Let's get stuck into FIA. But yeah, no. I guess sort of decision made on the fly as it happens. Rather be safe than sorry kind of vibe,
yeah,
maybe.
rather be
But
safe, but
yeah,
was it? I don't think it was really needed again.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, interesting. But still, they'd rather be safe than sorry. And I get that. Like,
Mm.
yeah, it's a bit sort of like, yeah, whatever kind of vibe.
Luckily, Perez did manage to stay in lead, so I see not
Mm.
much was lost, but again, Ferrari had that communication issue, and Mercedes sort of had the communication issue as well.
But Mercedes were
So,
like, compared to Red Bull, and it's horrible to compare all the other cars to Red Bull because Red Bull are in a league of their own at the moment.
mm,
Even with a drive shaft that gets damaged or replaced, and Verstappen goes out in 15th and finishes second. You know, what is it? You finished 5.3 seconds behind Perez, and got the fastest lap on the last lap. And this now is going to be interesting because the relationship between Perez and Verstappen has always been sort of like a bit contentious. But
mm,
even now, it's going to be pretty a hardcore because Max at the press conference looked like he got his ass smacked. And,
mm,
he said himself he didn't come here to finish second.
mm,
He's coming across a bit like a bitch, isn't he?
mm. I'm not going to say that, but yeah, he is coming across like a little crying child at the moment, same as Toto Wolff. But
But Toto Wolff has always been like that, though.
yes. But the question is Checo better at racing on a road course than a racetrack?
Well, the results would say yes.
Mm.
He seems to come alive, doesn't he, on race courses?
Monaco, he managed to
Monica.
take the win last year.
Well,
Now he,
I mean, what was it? Was it Monaco or Mexico that Max did a nasty to him?
uh, so Perez had the crash in qualifying at Monaco. Then I don't know why Max waited all of a sudden to not let him through in
That's
Brazil.
right, Brazil. There we
But
go. Yeah.
honestly, I don't know what was going on there. Obviously, you could see that Max is not going to let him through the.
And they can't damage limitation this because it was written all over Max's face, and even Max's father, Jos Verstappen, looked like a little child that had just been given a hiding. They
Mm,
should, there is no team there, eh? It's one driver or the other. It's clear as daylight. No matter how much they can say great team result, they don't give a shit.
the worst part is Checo did try to help Max as well with the old DRS and all that stuff at certain points.
Yeah.
and trying to fuck others, aka Mercedes.
Yeah. But
And obviously,
it looks like Max just doesn't help Perez at all.
no. And it is clearly shown. And I think Checo is getting to the point where he's not going to start to help.
Yeah.
Where he's going to help Max or anything like that.
Yeah.
And obviously, I won't blame Checo, but
Absolutely not, because Max, like we say, is coming across like a spoiled brat.
mm,
I mean, I've never seen a driver that looks so miserable to finish second from 15th. Damn,
but who
I would be happy beyond belief, man.
would get? I understand it's Formula One, but why would you want to get all grumpy over a second place finish from 15th as well?
Yeah.
I'd be
And not only that, it showed so well during the race, during the second or third to last lap, when he asked about who's got the fastest lap. And his team were like, yeah, don't worry about it. And he said, well, no, I'm worried about it. I want to know, or whatever he said, I'm paraphrasing, but whatever, and that just shows you the mentality of Max Verstappen. He wants every single point that he can get, and everybody else be damned.
it's but as we said, some F1 drivers are getting pretty out of hand. It just seems they're doing it for the money and all that stuff. As we've said before, they're coming across a bit silly.
Bratish. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
practice.
what's his name? Charles Leclerc was exactly the same.
Mm.
Ever since he moved to Ferrari, it was like, okay, so you really are a brat. But then again, you look at Drive to Survive, and they all say the same thing. As drivers, we're selfish because we just want to win all the time, regardless. So you can understand from that perspective and everything. But yeah, I mean, let's talk about a little bit about the Kevin Magnussen, man, in Haas, getting the final point in the last lap, overtaking Tsunoda. What a great overtake and result for Haas too.
This is the second time for a point now, I believe, or something like that.
And he finally beat Hulkenberg too, which is great for him, for self-confidence. Absolutely
It's
fantastic result, that.
yeah, it's pretty amazing. But a team I was expecting to be a little bit better was Alpha.
Yeah.
What on earth happened to Bottas?
No
Coming in at
idea.
what,
49 laps done, and then that's it. Out.
he it seemed like he had he obviously has a better car than McLaren, but obviously that could have changed because Lando managed to finish just before him.
Yeah, I mean,
So
okay, the two drivers that retired, right, were Lance Stroll
oh,
on lap
sure.
16 and Albon on 27. And Valtteri didn't even finish the full 50 laps. He finished 49 laps. I mean, what is going on there? And his
I
teammate,
don't know.
Guan Yu, Joe's like 13th. Did his full 50 laps, did the same amount of pit stop. Oh, Valtteri did 3 pit stops. So maybe there was an underlying issue there with
I,
the Alpha.
I believe he was on about talking about the grip levels not being there. I could be wrong about that, but did no,
I mean,
yeah,
you just look at the results and you go, Lando Norris 17th, final car. Logan Sargent Williams 16th. It's like, what the hell, man? That to
but
me would be a firing point right there. But anyway, enough about McLaren. Papaya, Team Papaya.
unfortunately,
Boy,
so
jeepers.
talk about that. Unfortunately.
And then Ocon and Gasly, man. 2 Alpines, 8th and 9th. What a great result for them.
Oh yeah,
Really, really fantastic points. Again, pointing at McLaren and going, and, you know. But
yeah,
yeah, interesting. And obviously, Aston Martin, Fernando Alonso finishing third. And that whole fiasco with the penalty, oh man, I was so elated after the race, and then I was like, wait, what? He didn't get
it
it?
was
Oh, just a
it was
farce.
it was one. It was probably one of the most confusing races of this year, actually.
So
And we
far,
haven't
and we're
seen.
we're only round 2. Oh
So
god.
FIA could strike again for a different team, but the funniest part was that FIA giving a black and white flag to our little friend Hamilton for weaving.
But didn't they do the same to Science? Also gave him a black and white flag for that?
Yes,
Yes, yeah. Don't do that
that
again,
was
naughty boys.
that's pretty interesting. On the straightaway as well.
Yep.
So yeah, but again, when she's speaking about our little friends over at Papaya, again, the apology videos strike again from McLaren.
Oh god, not again. How many apology videos do you reckon there's going to be out of the 24 races this year?
24.
24? 24. Yeah.
We're already 2 down,
Oh
so
boy.
we've still got many more to come.
Oh
And
boy.
again, Facebook is still kicking off, same as any sort of social media. It's still kicking off about Zach Brown, still wanting him to go, and they're still having debates about the car, and still saying it's the tractor, saying Daniel still to blame, or is Daniel really the issue? But
He's not there. So how can he
no,
be the issue? I mean, come on.
I think they're doing it as like a joke, as from
Right.
Trying to Survive,
Yeah.
obviously. But
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting
it's
because, we can talk about McLaren all you want, but Mercedes, Total Wolf saying this week that they are targeting massive, massive big gains for Australia on April the 2nd, which, by the way, everybody, the podcast will come up a couple of days after the race. So, yeah, there's going to be a break until the next race, about 2 weeks thereabouts. But still, for Toto Wolff and Zach Brown, have they got the same mother and father? Because they are both bitching, moaning, blaming everything except for themselves and their decisions and the car designer decisions and everything.
it's obviously not very good for both teams, especially Lewis Hamilton drove for McLaren, now driving for Mercedes. So he's been in both teams, and he's both won some championships there. And obviously, they've taken at some point a step back. And some people are saying when Zach came in charge of McLaren, it all went downhill. And it does show that it is sort of true, obviously. But it's sort of speechless about this entire McLaren thing. Shouldn't be seen right at the bottom.
No,
But
it's just so wrong. Oh,
again,
but you know,
will they improve for round 4 though? Is the question. And will they improve afterwards? Is what I think is going to be the main focus. Yes, we could also do that with Aston, same as Mercedes. Red Bull, we don't really need to, but you have to wait and see for Australia.
what are your take going to be on Australia? What do you think is going to happen there?
Obviously, we know where McLaren's going to be. uh, we know where Williams are going to. We don't know about Williams.
Yeah,
Alpha,
exactly. You see now. That's the weirdest thing to say, man. It goes against the normal.
yeah, I know. We shouldn't be saying Williams has a fighting chance. We shouldn't be saying that.
God,
But
I'm a massive Williams fan, and always supported when Williams was BMW Williams, and when oh man, go Ralph Schumacher used to drive for Williams, and Juan Pablo Montoya. Man, I used to be a big Williams fan. Big,
Beautiful
big, big Williams. So,
car.
oh yeah. And this year, man, I'm just like every time there's a Williams, I'm like, come on, you can do it, you can do it, come on. And Logan Sargent did well, 16th. You know, it's not awful for his first time out. You know, in a F1 car in on that circuit, really isn't that bad. Okay, yes,
And
you know, he finished second last, but he finished ahead of a McLaren, an Alfa Romeo, his teammate Albon, and an Aston Martin. So, you know, it's not bad.
again, obviously, obviously we know Williams had the brake issue, but again, that the car's been the best it has since how many years? It's been
Yeah,
a pretty shit car, but
yeah,
even Albon said that it's improved a lot. But
yeah,
we'll just have to wait and see, just like every team.
indeed. Indeed, we'll just have to wait it out and see what happens. I think Australia's going to be very interesting. Lots of fast corners and so on. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting, I think. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. You know, it's just one of those things. So what was it? Let's have a look. See, qualifying Perez first, race first. A pretty good result for them. Fernando Alonso finally getting his third. Russell and Hamilton, the two Mercedes, fourth and fifth. And then the two Ferraris, sixth and seventh. I never thought I'd hear myself say that, but even more so, the two Alpines, eighth and ninth, and then the Haas 10th. It's pretty mixed up, man. But bar for the one and two, and the gaggle of the next couple of teams, Mercedes and Ferrari. It's pretty interesting so far. I mean, it's not like we would have said that of the beginning of the year. This is it. This is how it's going to be. It's like, no, not at all.
But
Particularly with the Red Bulls. Well, particularly with Mercedes and Ferrari, how crap they're doing, and surprisingly, how awful McLaren is, and how different the Williams is, and the Haas has been in the mid to the lower end of the top 10. It's interesting. It's interesting.
the main question is McLaren's time actually up in Formula One? Is the question. We will find out in round 4. But
Yes,
we
round
can.
4 is the really big one, isn't it? Because they've got to really, they've up in race one, round 2, they've been saying we got to wait till Baku to get our parts. Baku, 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 Baku. If they
So,
don't improve by Baku, oh boy.
or even after, if once they get new upgrades on the car, will it be good or will it be bad?
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't know. But is McLaren's time actually coming to an end in Formula One? And should they be focusing again on one thing, as we said previously? Should they just do F1 or should they just do F IndyCar or Formula
But
E?
but the problem though is that it's a massive big company, so they can probably absorb costs and everything like that. But there's got to come a point where it's going to be like, from a business perspective, we're not making money. Our sponsors are not renewing their sponsorship, and we're not covering costs. Where do we go from here? Do we pull out of F1? Do we stay in F1? Because nobody's doing it for anything other than money. I mean, let's not pulling any punches here. The whole point of this is that it's business, and you're doing it for money and to win championships. If you've got a CEO that says not interested in championships but rather in points, it's the stupidest, redundant thing to say if you're a business.
But as we say, as McLaren's time coming to an end? And is Lando and Oscar's time coming to an end at McLaren? Obviously, we don't know. We'll
Yeah,
have
we
to.
don't know. Yeah, we'll have to wait.
We'll have
Yeah.
to wait. You have to wait and see. But obviously, I know it's going to get really annoying talking about McLaren for the next 23 races or whatever it is now, or 22, I should say. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, the problem is that there's a lot to come. There's a lot of upgrades to come. A hell of a lot of races. Jeez, like there's a lot of races. But yeah, that's. I think it's just gonna be um, Red Bull, Red Bull, and Red Bull.
Red Bull.
Yeah, Red Bull, Red Bull, Red Bull, and more Red Bull, and more Red Bull. Yeah, I mean, Max Verstappen on 44 points, Sergio Perez on 43, Fernando Alonso on 38. You never would have said in a million years at the beginning of the year, oh, yeah, Aston Martin are going to be third by the round two. What the hell? And then you got the Ferrari, Mercedes, and Aston again with Lance Stroll. Yeah. It is the strangest thing. The last team to pick up a point, and this is the point, Alex Albon, Williams. Go figure. Go figure, man. Just crazy.
A team I really do want to speak about is touched on it a little bit is AlphaTauri, the former Red Bull team. What on earth is going on with them? Obviously, they have the newbie of Nick DeVries and Tsunoda. They originally did have Gasly until they moved to Alpine. What on earth is going on at Alpha?
Yeah, well, Tsunoda and Nick de Vries, yeah, they haven't scored any points, and the results haven't been great. And I was expecting them to be sort of fighting for maybe 11th, 12th, and 13th thereabouts. But so far, nothing. It's jeez, man. It is the strangest thing, man.
As people say, it's liveries and design of the car. Oh yeah, it may look fast, but is it actually fast?
No.
That's true. That they've changed the white to black, as people are saying. It's just like airplane mode on your phone or something like that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Look, dude, we can talk about McLaren, Mercedes. We can talk about all the teams, but we don't know. All we can do is just give the listeners our viewpoint for what it's worth, and have a giggle at us and whatever else, or with us even. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting Australian race coming up. And the last thing that we do need to talk about, I just briefly touched on it, is Verstappen's fast lap Pippin Perez, when Red Bull the Pitbull told Perez to stick to his 133 or whatever, and Verstappen, the smacked child or the spoilt child, is like, no, I want that point. The ill feelings within that team are not going to be healthy for the team. And maybe that's something for the other teams to take advantage of then, maybe.
yes, why there's a bit of issues going on at Red Bull, and if it carries on, it could affect their race, meaning people like Aston, or teams like Aston Martin, Mercedes, Ferrari, them sorts of teams, or Haas or Alpine, could easily overtake Red Bull. And as I said last time, will Red Bull win the championship this year? We don't know, but
Yeah.
how it's going at this moment, it's maybe.
I think that by the end of this season, I reckon that the fight is going to be between Perez and Verstappen for the championship. I don't think it's going to be as clear cut as maybe some people are making out, that Verstappen's just going to walk away with it. I think it's going to be a lot closer unless the team get directly involved and say, listen, Sergio, you are the second driver here. Everything's got to go to max.
Mm.
How
But
detrimental.
there's something else I know we didn't touch on about, but F123, the game
Aha.
by EA. It
This is a sore
well,
talking point at the moment.
it's a bit of a weird one, obviously. You wouldn't expect to hear a game on a podcast of a Formula One subject, but again, it's made by a team of EA. Obviously, they're known
Mm-hmm.
for their Xbox games and all that stuff. And we just actually finished or tried to finish a race of on F122, and the AI, have they changed it? We don't know, but it seems they have,
It
because
feels
it's
like it because it just the race that we raced was Bahrain, and we were doing a PvP. Everyone's car was equal. AI was set to 75, and it was ridiculously hard, just ridiculously hard. Between 70, which is what the AI that I race with, is manageable in a semi good McLaren, and get like finish in the top 10, and that's understandable. But between 70 and 75, the difference is just it's huge, absolutely massive. So I hope that you never know. There might be somebody that works at EA that listens to this, and hey, how you doing? It would be great if you guys could sort out a couple of things. One of them being the
oh,
online multiplayer, which is shockingly shit, and the PvP and the AI, from my point of view.
yes, the AI really does need sorting out. Because we both have been doing a bit of team races together. If you watch us on YouTube at Just Trev and Ada Gaming, if you've been watching us having a bit of fun being a team, he was at Williams, surprisingly.
And it
Shocking
was
team.
fun. It was fun.
But
Up
it
until,
Miami.
well,
It
no,
was a
it was the race before, wasn't it? It was the Imola one, where they gave us, which involves a sprint race plus the feature race, and the sprint race
yes.
was 69 laps. Go figure that.
Mm,
Anybody that knows F1 will know that the sprint race is about 24 laps thereabouts. And then after that sprint race, we get into the main race because we thought, okay, this is an error. Either they skipped the sprint race by mistake, or there's a bug, a
it's
glitch, or
actually
whatever.
the actual race, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't. It
It's
was a sprint race. It's 69 laps, and then we get into the main race, and it said 69 laps again. So, yeah, a lot to sort out, EA, Electronic Arts. Come on now. Jeepers.
mm, we absolutely enjoyed our time at Williams. Obviously, I'm not sure if Trev did, but obviously I did. I really enjoyed it. It was especially Selby. That was probably one of my best things. That was my first time on the track as well, racing, and to get the fastest qualifying time of a 1:31, I believe, is pretty insane for a team like Williams, obviously.
Yeah, it
And
was good fun. Yeah. So I mean, as everybody that's listening figures out, we talk about everything that's F1, F2, and including games. So the Formula One
so
racing games. But yeah,
and again, people do want to see better liveries. Can change the side pods and front wings and rear wings would also be something else.
I
That would
think one of
be
the things we talked about during one of our streams was to be able to play PvP with our own designed cars, having access to R&D and practice winter testing. That's never been a thing in F1. That'd be great to have a winter testing and make it I said it would be great to have a career mode that you could do the option which is called My Team, which you take control of a team and everything like that, but to have it as a multiplayer format, not just a single player thing. I don't know,
As
technically how possible that is. I would imagine that'd be quite difficult. But to start off your actual career as an F3, F2, then into F1 or something like that, to have a full on career and also to have the money aspect of the game be more prevalent in that your sponsorships, because most games nowadays is all about the action.
mm,
There used to be a golf game, I forget the name of it, but there used to be a golf game that how you performed, or was it a tennis game or something? It's like how you performed was based on how much you earned, and you could buy yourself a house in a certain area that cost X amount, and that gave you like a focus boost or something like that. So you bettered your living situation to play better on the field in your sport, your respective sport. I thought that was a great way to do a game. I think it was a tennis game. I can't remember, but that seems to be missing nowadays, and they don't have that sort of like deep immersive feel in games anymore.
obviously, it would be nice to get a bit of a different size for Formula One, having like your own time, like uh, you've added like the cars and all that stuff. They
Mm.
need sorting out, definitely. They definitely do need sorting out. That's one thing. They turn shockingly. It,
Yeah, the
even
the whole for me it's all about the whole career thing because you want to live the dream of being an F1 driver and
yeah,
doing
is
that
that
whole career. I don't want to dive straight into F1 and boom, that's it. If I want to do F2, I'd like to have the full 24 races. I don't want to just
and
have 7, 6 or
se-
3 or whatever. Stupidity. Come on.
yeah, and again, we were speaking about this, I believe yesterday. The multiplayer side, letting us start off with Formula 2, then going into Formula 1, having a bit of a PvP with each other. That would also be very nice to have. But
Yeah. Yeah.
see, I'm not sure if you will listen, but that's up to you. But
It
we're
would be
just
nice.
too.
It would just add a bit of difference to the game.
Mm,
But anyway, I think we've rabbited on enough. We're close to where we need to be in time wise, and certainly don't want to bore people to death either. But I appreciate everyone listening and so on. Please don't forget to get in touch via Discord or on our YouTube channel or whatever. Drop us a message. Tell us what you think of the podcast and what we should perhaps aim at, or any thoughts, ideas, how we can
mm.
improve, all that sort of stuff. I know that at some point it would be nice to edit this to have visuals in and maybe webcams on, so we're face to face
Um,
talking kind of vibe. We're working on these kind of things in the background anyway.
obviously, this is literally my second podcast as well, so obviously,
Not
I'm
bad.
I'm pretty new to this, so obviously I am making a few little mistakes. Like yesterday when I said about silver arrows, meaning
Right.
I thought obviously, but I did clarify that it was Arrow McLaren. Obviously, they just both sound exactly
Yeah.
the same. Silver Arrows, Arrow McLaren.
Yeah.
Both have Arrow, and they're
Both have
both
error in it. So it's that
and they're,
time of the podcast where we now got to rate the race.
hmm.
You go first this
Oh,
time.
no, I'll let you start.
Highs and lows. Okay, highs and lows. Come on. What was your? Let's do a your high of the race, your low of the race, and the muppet of the race. Go.
So my high of the race would probably be uh again Alonso.
Mm.
I have he again. He's the driver of the day again. Really suffering from a pit stop penalties issue and being told by FIA, oh yeah, you're fourth, then to go back to third. Obviously, he does deserve the driver of the day for getting mucked around. High
Hmm.
hopes. Your hopes get high, then they get shattered, then they get high. Then they
Yeah. And then
I'm
lower the
very
race?
lower off the race would be McLaren, obviously.
Yep.
It would be nice to see them fighting, but I'll see how it's going at this moment in time. It's not going to happen. So
Yeah. A Muppet of the race?
Muppet off the race will probably be. That one's a pretty tough one.
Well, you're
I
thinking
reckon.
it. Go on then.
I reckon it would have to be Ocon. Since whoever it was who had the incident, it was either Ocon or Gasly who had the issue with Piastri to then cause the issues for McLaren, because both cars suffered damage from that one crash.
Right.
So obviously, it's either one of them two are the Muppets of that race.
Okay, and then
For
the
me,
race in total, what points are you going to give it? 0 being absolutely horrendous, 10 being fantastic.
if I'd be or whatever, but I reckon I'd have to give it an 8. It's pretty interesting.
Ooh, wow,
Pretty.
okay.
I found it pretty interesting, honestly. No, it's not what some people want, especially McLaren. Obviously, it would have been higher if McLaren were lowered down, but obviously around about an 8 would really be what I'd say.
Ah, okay.
Especially from Max, 15 to second, not bad.
Okay, so then I would
How
say that my high of the race, again, I agree with you, Alonso. Doing absolutely fantastic. Getting served a silly penalty by a silly mistake, only to be taken, his third be taken away to be given back again. The low of the race, I would say, agree with you, McLaren. There's nothing more to add there. The Muppet of the race, I would say, is the FIA for their taking
I
the
do agree.
penalty and handing it back, and just not being very clear or concise with their instructions, and the timing of their decision making was bloody awful. Rate the race. I'm gonna give that one a 7. I'm gonna give that a 7, based purely on Verstappen's 15th to second, and the fact that he didn't win it also made me happy because of the way that he acted thereafter. If he hadn't had acted like an absolute douchebag, I would have given the race an 8. There we go.
So, if you want to, you can also let us know what you'd rate that race and the highs and lows and which person is the Muppet of the day. Obviously, one of the Alpine drivers and FIA are both Muppets at the same time.
Yeah,
Both
the Muppet of the race is fantastic.
or whatever event or whatever, but we will be back after Australia and
Yeah,
then
that's
after
correct.
that
Yeah, that's
we'll
right.
see
Yeah, we'll
what
see what
happens.
happens. Yeah, I mean, the schedule is that it's when is it? Bloody hell! Oh, that's testing.
Something
What am I looking at testing for? Australia. Yeah. That's
17th,
that's
19th
Yep.
or something.
And then Azerbaijan. And then it's the United States, Italy, Monaco, Spain, Canada, Austria, Great Britain, Hungary, Belgium, Netherlands, Italy, Singapore, Japan, Qatar, United States, Mexico, Brazil, United States, and Abu Dhabi. It is a jam packed season, and we aim to bring a podcast about 2 or 3 days or 1 or 2 days after the race. So it's fresh in our minds, and our raw feelings towards McLaren and the FIA are still fresh.
So another little thing that we could do is whoever actually makes it this one, obviously. What track are you most looking forward to, and what track are you least looking forward to? Is also something else we want to know as well. I see. I think we know what's going to be the best and what's going to probably be the worst. Pretty clear. Obviously, Las Vegas, everyone's looking pretty forward to that. Obviously, a track that's been in Formula One for quite a while is Monaco.
Yeah, that's always the one. That's the pinnacle, isn't it?
Hmm.
I see. I've got a couple of favorites. We'll just end off with this, but I would say that my personal favorite is Belgium Spa. I absolutely love that track. I also love the Canadian one. The least one that I'm looking forward to is probably Mexico. I'm not a big fan of the Mexican track. The Singapore one, not really either. I'm not a big fan of street circuits. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Singapore. It's the least one that I'm looking forward to. But I reckon the Canadian and the Belgian ones, those are my favorites.
My favourite would probably be Silverstone, obviously my home track.
Right.
Same as Lando and Lewis and George. Who wouldn't have that as their favourite? Had their home place as their favourite track, but
Yeah.
I am looking forward to Las Vegas. That one also is something I'm looking forward to. Things I'm not looking forward to is Brazil. See,
Really? You don't like the Brazil track? Wow, okay.
some people know I don't. I'm not a fan of that track, and obviously you can see that I'm not a fan, especially that first corner going. It's just like the corkscrew in America. That
Hmm. Hmm.
it's yeah, it's all right when you get to learn the track a bit more, but obviously I've just had my second or first time on that track, and obviously I'm still pretty getting back into the Formula One, but yeah, I'd
Right.
have to say that probably the castle as well is going to be a difficult one. I believe it is a road track or something like that.
What Azerbaijan?
Yeah,
Yeah, Baku. Yeah. It's a very tricky couple of corners there through the castle. The fake castle, that is. Apparently, it's not real. It's just there for show. But yeah, that track is pretty
never.
nasty. But I do like
Yeah,
that start finish, that long start finish.
yeah, straight is amazing.
Can you imagine
Uh,
Red Bull on that straight with the current setup? Oh boy, that'd just be
if
so ridiculous.
ooh,
Boy, but anyway, all right, guys, there we go. Thank you so much, to everybody that's listened. Aiden, have a fantastic day, and I look forward to the next one.
thank you very much. Goodbye.
Cheers, everybody.